gotta say hunker down.
Hunker down.
Hunker down, y'all.
Hunker down.
Hunker down.
Hunker down.
Hunker down.
Hunker down.
Hunker down.
Okay, hey everybody, this is Jeff, and we are here for Hunker Downcast episode number. Well, wait a minute, we didn't even.
15.
Is this going to be episode 15?
I think this is 15.
Because Alli's not here, so we're not going to give it a decimal point. We're just going to do it.
No, Allie's not here, but we have someone to fill in
for
her. So
right.
It's not actually Freebird rules.
Okay, so this is a non-Freebird episode, despite the fact that Allie's not here with us, which is. There was some other wrestling thing that you told me.
Badstreet. There used to be a masked wrestler who would fill in when one of the Freebirds wasn't there, and his name was Badstreet.
Okay.
And he wore a mask.
So this is a.
So we can either tell them who our guest is, or we can just let them figure it out.
No, I think we should tell them who it is. But
sure. She's a draw.
This is a Badstreet episode.
It's a draw.
As soon as that name hits, man, bam.
Oh yeah.
So,
like Beyonce.
Nuclear.
So it's me and it's Lance, obviously, and it's our good friend Karen Gadbois is with us tonight.
Yes,
also the landlady of the Hogshead Studio,
mm-hmm.
Hogshead Jesus Studio.
The notorious landlady.
Yeah. She could shut the whole thing down at any moment.
At any second. So maybe keep the disco ball down tonight or
right.
whatever the...
Especially with renters' laws here in New Orleans. I don't stand a chance.
I'm going to Airbnb this place while you're in it.
Not a goddamn thing I can do about it.
Move over.
But Karen, actually, you're making history as the third official guest of Hunker Downcast. We had Mark that time, Mark Mosley.
Yeah, Mark is here. Oh,
that was a
good guest.
It was a stimulating.
He came on, spoke a little.
I mean, the Mosley way?
Yeah.
It was good. And then the podcast patron himself, Josh Murphy,
demanded basically that he be on the show and take a center role because he's given us money and there was nothing we could do about it.
No.
He held you hostage.
Right. I mean, he's paying for the thing, so what are we going to do?
But he did bring us all that food.
He did.
And beer. And that was nice.
Yeah.
But then we fucked up the audio for that, so we got him back, kind of.
One of the lost episodes, anyway. so to speak. And then now Karen.
So now Karen's here, so...
I'm privileged to be here.
Yeah.
We're privileged to have you. Holy shit.
So, anyway...
we have some Karen-centric topics also.
Do we? Yeah. I mean, looking at the list, we... some of the stuff the Lens has been covering, we tried to work in the Lusher Charter School stuff. Some of the land use issues are in here, and then some other stuff we'll get to. And we're going to try to go fast tonight, right? We're going to try to get through. We're already we're
at 4 minutes now. We're doing good.
Okay,
we can jump right into topics.
Okay, so I guess this is what we're going to do. So the first thing that we want to do this week is the vote at Lusher. Last week. Was it last week or was it the week before now? Time is very...
Last week.
Oh, last week. The Lusher... First of all, what happened was the staff at Lusher, the teachers, petitioned to join a union. And I think they had about 60% of the teachers there sign the petition. And the next thing that happens after that is the board can decide to just accept the union as a collective bargaining agreement and move on from there. But they didn't. They decided instead to force an election. And then after that, you get into a couple weeks of, rancor between the
rancor like Harlan County rancor?
Or more like that thing in Star Wars.
Union bus? Oh, no. Okay. No real union busters being called in with the sticks or anything like that?
No, but they did actually, a lot of the teachers reported that they received like mailers and things at their homes. Some of them said that the administration took them like aside and kind of, I mean, the kind of things that you would expect.
Mailers.
Yeah, like
From shootings in front of the coal mine to, oh my God, mailers.
Post-it notes.
Whoa, post-it notes threatening.
Okay.
Hot pink post-it notes.
It sounds goofy, but that is part of what they're subjected to, like that sort of thing.
It's a form of peer pressure.
It is, like there's all sorts of implications behind it, like your job is kind of at stake, or your career and your future is kind of at stake if you don't do the right thing, according to administration. Some of them reported that they were talked to, taken aside and talked to by administration. So this is the sort of thing, and I feel like I'm talking too much here, but this is the sort of thing that happens with labor organizing. If they decide that they're going to go to an election, the upper hand automatically goes to management, because they have this period where they can apply a lot of pressure to people and make them feel very uncomfortable. It used to be where if you had to petition, if you had 50% plus one of your of employees sign a card saying they would like to join the union, bam, you're recognized as a collective bargaining union. But that's not how it works anymore, and they came around to rejecting the vote didn't go. The petition was 60%, and then the vote ended up being something like 40% for. Is that
Right, and there was a little bit of conflict, whereas the decision to make it not open to the public happened.
So meaning that when the election was going on,
yeah, that day they did an about face on allowing the public and media in to witness the voting. I'm going to blank on the acronym. The labor.
NLRB?
Yes, they said fine, come on in, but ultimately the proceedings could be closed by order of the owner of the property.
Oh, by the owner of the property.
Right. So whoever, or I guess occupant, because I don't think that Lusher owns that building.
Kind of like what could happen here at the Hunker Downcast.
I could come down here and lay down a whole new set of rules.
Yeah.
Um,
Funny we even talked about that.
It's in your
Came
lease
right up.
that I never wrote up. So anyway, at that point, there was some hustling going on in terms of whether or not people would be able to watch the proceedings, and they took everyone off the grounds. I mean,
I remember that, because I know that you guys were planning to live blog it.
Yeah, we were going, and then we do have an attorney that we engage for issues of public interest.
Uh-huh.
So there was some last minute change of plans that took place about how that would be seen. I mean, we've had some interesting comments. We have interesting comments. Unlike some other publications, our comments can be less abusive, but maybe more interesting, depending on what your point of view is. There was one commenter who said something along the lines of, "You're a charter school teacher, and part of charter schools is no unions." So, within the context of the commenter's universe, it would seem that people have a sense that the union is contrary to the mission of a charter school.
So, and this is your impression from that comment is that this is like that's the whole point.
Yes.
Like that was what they're saying. The whole point of
Yes.
this is to do away with unions.
Yes.
And so that's interesting, because most charter school advocates or professional charter school advocates will back away from that question. They'll say, well, no, we're giving people choices, or we're...
Right, there's not usually a direct correlation drawn in that way.
Except when somebody admits it like that.
Yeah. So I thought that was kind of a telling comment in terms of, and I do think there's some gender politics that go on. I don't know what the gender breakdown is on teaching, but it's often a female profession,
Mm-hmm.
and supposedly noble. I mean, I think there's an idea that you're you're noble. So if you're engaged in, like the nuns, like what if the nuns union?
Well, okay, that's a good point
That
too.
would be
because
amazing.
It would be pretty
Union
amazing.
of nuns.
Non-union.
God and socialism.
But you're right about that. Like, not only is the teaching profession, traditionally predominantly female, but in New Orleans it's traditionally African American, and you can there's an article I want to cite about it, but I don't have it on my screen. But before Katrina, whatever you want to say about the performance of the schools and the situation of the public schools in New Orleans, the teaching profession was a key component of the New Orleans middle class, so specifically the African American middle class. And after Katrina, when they decided to charterize the schools, that's when they just immediately fired everybody. That was a huge blow to that one source of wealth, like that backbone of the community. And the schools are kind of seen as a political football because of that.
Well, I think there's that. There's also the, now that we're all our own corporations.
God.
Now that we're all our own little business entities, I think that the idea of being a lifelong teacher it's not seen in the same way as a profession that you enter and then you climb the ladder or somehow, spend 30 years teaching math to high school students. It's seen in that sort of Teach for America model. You're on your way somewhere else.
Right. So that's the charter model, which is itself, that also gives lie to the idea that they're anti-union, because they're not. That whole model, that freelance model of you're just doing this piecework for a little while and then you move on to something else, that's completely contrary to the notion of people actually taking pride in their work and organizing together to.
Or just the value of having a teacher who has a long career in a profession may have learned a few things they can pass on.
That's exactly right.
So. I think that in some ways, there was a sense at Lusher that this is Franklin High School is unionized. Mm-hmm. It's not without precedent in New Orleans. This is not a.
Well, that's the thing. So the Katrina event and the charterization of the schools, the grand experiment, is the event that broke the teachers' union in the city, and we're at a point now where we're starting to reassess the whole charter movement. Like New Orleans has been held up by certain people, like by the charter advocates of the whole country. Like you mentioned Steve Case before we went on, and Mitch Landrieu obviously is one, and his sister is another one, who promote this New Orleans miracle of how we've created some kind of utopia in schools and the experience now is that maybe we're starting to question that a little bit, and a manifestation of that is the reorganization of the schools. So Lusher is the first place where they started to push back because Morris Jeff is union. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm not sure if they've completed the process, but
okay,
they're active.
And I knew that Franklin was,
mm-hmm.
and I know that. Lusher was going to be the next one, or is there a third one out there somewhere?
I'm not sure. I don't cover schools and personally.
But the
Marta Jewson, who's our reporter, also Steve Beatty's really, on top of it. We did have a charter school reporting corps. Yes, we did have one, and we'd like to have it again. It's interesting that with all the money that gets poured into New Orleans and the New Orleans Miracle, and the basics of covering it as a reporting entity are the resources necessary are not that easy to come by.
No, I know.
You hear that, Magnolia Builders?
Yeah.
Spread the love.
Charter School Reporting Corps lives on in our memory, but we do still actively cover the charter schools as best we can. One of the points of having a charter school reporting corps was to cover all the charter school board meetings, which is,
Which is very difficult to do.
which is impossible to do unless
And-
you have a dedicated staff to
Yeah.
do it. You can't do it with one or two or even three people.
And I actually had that conversation with a parent the other day, I think it was a Lusher parent, who was talking about the difficulty of keeping track of all these
Mm-hmm.
bifurcated, or what it would be, I don't know the word, fractionalized administrative.
Decentralized.
Right, and
Yes.
so in most of the media in New Orleans, some of the reporters who cover schools do a good job on their own, but you need greater capacity to cover every meeting and every thing that goes on, and they haven't. We've lost track of that in a lot of cases.
Yeah, I think that one of the issues at not just Lusher, but at many of these schools, and maybe less so at Lusher, but at many of the schools, the issue of having reporting on their board. People confuse the issue of a public school that operates as a private school.
Yeah.
That's kind of a theme that we've encountered over and over, with either the boards willfully ignorant or unwillfully ignorant, or the opposite.
So
Unwillfully
Or
ignorant.
just
I like that
plain
phrase.
old ignorant.
They don't feel like they're obligated to have an open meeting or to adhere to open meetings laws.
Some feel like they just don't have to and don't want to, and others just don't even understand that they're obligated to. So when we ask for agendas, et cetera, or when we say, you haven't noticed this meeting, like we do a lot of sort of behind the scenes watchdogging on the public access to those meetings, parental primarily. I mean, those are the people most heavily invested, but it's kind of fascinating. And we have we have folks who are part of the charter school movement who support what we do and think it's great, and endorse us as a positive. And then we've heard others, when they heard our charter school board reporting corps was shutting down, that they literally got up at a board meeting and cheered.
Oh my God.
The demise. So.
Well, that just tells you where people stand on these sorts of questions. I keep coming back to the labor issue. I think that in my conception of public education would be, everyone pays into public education, and every school should be supported, and every school should be, it should be accountable to everyone and should be transparent. But there's also, the argument for charterization that, says that there needs to be room for innovation and there needs to be room for experimentation or whatever, that is that's allowed by freeing people from what traditional bureaucracy looks like, I guess is what their argument is. But as we just discussed a little while ago, like the real thing that sparks a fight always comes back to the labor issue. Like it always, whenever you start to talk about how teachers are treated and how whether or not they can bargain collectively or speak for themselves and what they think is best for their interest in their professional development, and from their perspective what is best for educating children, that's when the pushback starts. And this vote at Lusher, this union vote, is really kind of a big deal at Lusher because that's where the pushback is happening from.
Yeah, I think that, and I don't know because I don't have a child at Lusher and I'm not actively involved in the day-to-day at Lusher, but it would seem that, there's the self-interest issue within the unions, the effort to unionize, but there's also the interest of the school. And so there's divergent opinion on what's good for the students, what's good for the institution, that teachers have obvious opinions about, which I'm sure are welcomed at different levels. So maybe the fight isn't just about we don't want teachers to unionize because unionized teachers will demand more money, demand more better, what maybe they'll challenge the administration and in their efforts or decision making capacity.
Right, but which sometimes there needs to be another voice that challenges those people, especially when they're off in their own private meetings that nobody can keep track of.
Well, but I think, we've witnessed over the last number of years, the narrative supposedly is that, ne'er-do-well teachers will become comfortable and, go and sit in the teacher's lounge and smoke all day or something.
Right, and what bullshit
because they're
is
covered
that?
by,
That's what they did at Escambia High School.
Yeah, you were right in there with them.
No, I mean,
I think
I
that
looked
was,
in there and saw him.
I think
It's
that
a
was
mysterious place.
That was John Kasich's big thing this year. He
I
remember
something like that.
Kasich's position was there should be no teachers' lounges because that's where
They lounge.
Some sort of evil was happening.
I remember you didn't go in there. You were like, "Fuck off! Do not come in the teachers' lounge."
Well, in our day, it always smelled like smoke.
It definitely always you would see them smoking, and it was like seeing Mickey Mouse without his head on at Disneyland or something. When
I was growing up, we had a teacher. I still remember her name. I think I remember like 2 teachers' names. Like, I'm old now. Her name was Mrs. Luoma. Which is such a great name, and she made us memorize the Battle of the Green Berets. That song.
Oh my God.
Fighting soldier. That?
Yeah.
You still remember it?
Oh yeah, she made us memorize that, and then she would go into we had these little bathrooms in the rooms.
Nice.
It was like some modern effort at some modern building in the early 60s.
The kids will do better if they can pee in the room.
Well, if they don't have to race down the hall to this.
You hear that, Lusher?
Yeah.
Charter schools.
Anyway, Mrs. Luoma,
Innovation. Right there.
She
To the
used to go
experiment.
in and grab a quick smoke during class. So she had her own teacher's lounge. See what a rebel she would have been.
Yes, indeed.
She'd have been out on the sidewalk.
Yeah, she would have been
Not
the
a
first
union
one
man.
busted. Well, maybe let's continue this conversation online.
Yeah, okay, so the next thing that's going to happen is the international school, the international high school, is going to also have a vote, I think this week, because they're trying to unionize as well. I think that's in a couple of days. And they had like 70%, 76% of their staff sign the petition. So we'll see how that vote goes and whether or not there's some difference there. So this is the next thing to look forward to. And I guess we'll table the rest of this.
Yeah, we'll tag a couple. Who'd you say we could talk about at the Lens? Steve Beatty and who else?
Marta Jewson.
Yeah, Marta Jewson.
Maybe tag them in the show notes.
Okay.
All right. So what
We're
else?
creating an online discussion. The Hunker Down.
Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, I guess.
Okay.
Guys are so modern.
It happened here.
And now it's going to happen out there.
Right, and now we're starting an online conversation.
Sounds great. What else is on the list this week? You want to do Bayou Boogaloo next?
Let's do more newsy stuff
Okay,
before we move into that.
All right.
You've got a definite opinion about that Boogaloo.
I do.
All right.
And Mid-City, just in general.
Grab me one while you're up.
Okay.
All right. So news issue B is Ken Havard. So if you don't know the story of Ken Havard is a state representative from where the hell is he from? Some
Jackson.
Is it Jackson?
Which I know every state has one, but I didn't know ours did.
Okay. Well, every state has a Jackson, but this is one of those is it like Livingston Parish or is it?
Is it?
It's one of those kind of north of the lake, middle of the. It's Klan country.
The Florida
is what
parishes.
Mm-hmm.
It is. It is Clan. I mean, you said it.
That's.
But that's what I was thinking.
Jackson, Louisiana?
Yeah. But anyway, so Ken Havard, just to recap, even though we all know, he this week the legislature was considering a bill to raise the age of the minimum age for strippers, on like Bourbon Street, but like
Exotic dancers, Jeff.
exotic dancers. Well, it says strippers in the
Town closest to Jackson is Ethel.
Everyone's just. It's one of those places where all the towns have first names.
So
Or actually, Jackson's kind of a last name.
the reason that they are
Could be a first name.
the reason they're trying to raise the age requirement for strippers is because
exotic dancers.
it says strip. I'm reading the Advocate
Stewardess.
right now. It says strippers.
Oh well, the Advocate, sure.
So I'm going with what they said.
Right.
So
That's what John Georges calls them, anyways.
Jackson, Louisiana is 89 miles from New Orleans, just so you'll know,
it's not that far away.
but a world away.
On a whim, if you needed to see a stripper real quick, you
Exactly.
could probably get here.
You jump in
Hour and
your,
a half.
jump in your
You're on Bourbon Street.
Suburban and cruise on down.
So, the reason that this bill existed in the first place is because there's serious concern about strip clubs and human trafficking and young girls being taken advantage of and underground exploitation. And I don't know that an age limit specifically rectifies all of that, or
Yeah.
but it's
I would need to know how it does that.
it's a step toward maybe a pretense for enforcing other laws or a way to
a way to bust people.
yeah
for it.
that's what
Okay.
that's my guess. I mean that's
Bus people, I don't know
For
about that.
trafficking
Bust people?
humans, sex
We said bus
trafficking and
people,
humans.
uh-huh.
You know, like, I don't know, like seatbelt laws.
Right.
It's a way for the cops to bust somebody for something when they know they've done something, but they can't quite prove it or make it stick in court. So it's an extra law for them to be able to do that.
that sounds right to me. But,
Or shake down possibly strip club owners.
which is also
I'm always thinking that way,
no, but you're probably right to think that way.
which has been happening a lot.
It's true. In any case, Havard made something of an editorial comment on this bill in the form of an amendment.
Editorial comment.
In the form of an amendment.
So yeah,
to
so
it.
the things you suggested might actually indicate that there need to be a serious conversation about the intention, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Like it could
Yeah.
be less
or
than
it has
just,
many
Yeah,
intentions.
Yeah, there's many intentions. What
Right.
would those intentions be? But instead, Kenny, as Jeff was explaining,
Yeah,
go
so-
on,
so
decided
Kenny-
to try a different tack.
Kenny says, as his amendment says, well, why don't we, I guess, place an age maximum of 28 years, meaning, and not only an age maximum, but also a weight maximum.
Right.
on strippers,
He
because-
went there and then he went further.
Right. So,
He
I mean,
was
it's kind of
sitting there defining beauty standards.
Well, and I
And
think
the-
his other comment, which is that political correctness is killing this country.
Oh, right.
I think he's been emboldened by the liberation
so that
of
came up. That-
opinion.
That came up later, and that's the interesting thing about it, because that came up.
He
the
did.
point-
He said that once he had been ridiculed for doing the shit.
Exactly.
Okay.
So he obviously it creates a reaction, and his first instinct is to say, "Well, obviously it's a joke. Obviously it's a joke." And so, what is your joke? What is the point of your joke? Well, the point of my joke is there's too much government regulation. Why are we regulating the age of strippers? We might as well go the whole nine and say my
Okay,
thing.
sort of a slippery slope argument he's trying to make.
No, something like that, yeah. And so after his amendment was obviously defeated,
All the fart jokes were taken.
and when they went to go and vote on the actual passage of the bill, which is the minimum age requirement, he voted for the bill. So, what was the point of the joke in the first place? Was it really to protest if he was actually protesting the point of the bill in the first place?
He would have gone ahead and
You think would have voted no, but he voted yes. He voted for the bill. So obviously he's not making a protest. This isn't some kind of he doesn't have a point. His whole point is, LOL. Some ladies are fat or whatever. Like I guess it's his.
Not even 160 pounds. Not even fat.
Well, I mean,
Come
according to if they're up to Ken's standards.
28.
Ken Havard, by the way.
What an asshole.
By the way, Ken Havard, have you seen a picture of him? He's a doughy fellow.
As soon as I
He's been
As
hitting
soon
the
as I
beignets hard.
heard about it, I went, that's the first thing. I was like, let's see what this motherfucker looks like. And he looked exactly like I thought he would, although a little bit younger. In about 10 years, he's going to be like original image that I thought of him. I expected a Hastert looking dude.
He's gonna be Pappy O'Daniel when he grows up.
Right.
He's heading there.
He's not quite there yet, but and then I was just like, yeah, he's got no fuck. But I mean, hey, would this law mean that current dancers who are working, who are under 21, have to quit, or
Would
are they being grandfathered in?
I don't know.
Okay. My friend Victoria wants to know.
Oh shit! Well, unfortunately, we don't have the information available for that.
Okay. Hang tight, Vic.
But anyway, so Ken, after creating a splash, he goes directly to the world is too full of PC, whatever. Now he's come off the point about having anything to do with actually talking about the bill, and now he's into, well, I'm really just standing up for my right to be a little offensive, which is really what the legislature is there to do, I guess, is to
be offensive,
is to push the envelope. We have this edgy legislature. I didn't know that they were there to do that. But apparently Ken thinks that that's what they're there to do. So
that's everybody's fallback after they say something fucking stupid.
JK, man, just kidding.
Yeah, and then like, oh, everyone's too uptight, blah 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 blah. Even I've used that.
Yeah.
But here's what we can do. We can just quit calling it political correctness and start calling it correctness. Just correctness. It's like gay marriage. Quit calling it gay marriage. Just call it marriage.
Well, you're just simplifying the language.
Right. I'm talking to the higher ups.
But if you're going to make a funny, it better be funny.
Yeah.
Ken made it funny. It wasn't funny.
No.
And then it
was obnoxious.
Awkwardly tried to play it off.
Yes. And then he had to pretend that it was still a funny, but, I guess the ladies...
No, well, somebody got up there and read him the riot act.
And
who was it that got up there afterwards?
Julie Stokes, I think her name
Where's
was.
she from?
Kenner.
Really?
Yep.
Nice.
She's from Kenner.
I didn't. That's not what I would have guessed.
And there's also a couple of days later, or maybe the next day, the equal pay bill came up. We actually want to enforce equal pay standards for women and men. The legislature voted that down, even though there was this there was an effort to capitalize on that specific sort of harassment to maybe gain sympathy for it, but they still voted down. They still voted the equal pay amendment down, the bill down. So it's the legislature is not the most enlightened place in the world, is what we're trying to say.
Well, I'm shocked to hear that.
It is kind of interesting when they do discuss New Orleans-centric issues up there, and usually the legislators will chime in about the good times they've had in New Orleans. Yeah, it's kind of, I was down there for such and such weekend, and so it is.
I think even Bush did that after Katrina.
Yeah,
I think,
it's a sort of pig pen,
a lot of
animal house.
They've all slummed it down in New Orleans, and we don't want to affect any of that.
What's weird about that is that a lot of the time when they're talking about New Orleans centric issues, it's usually bad news. It's like they're trying to Bigfoot us over the monuments issue, or they're trying to I think just this week they wanted to invalidate our what was it, the higher NOLA thing? It was that a minimum wage issue, or was it? Yeah. So they wanted to Bigfoot us on that.
Well, and making sure that the exotic dancers are over, a certain age.
It's important. It's important to them.
Well, yeah. I mean, clearly, that was a challenge for Kenny to sort of think about how that would affect his good time in New Orleans. I guess
so. So yeah, but it's funny that they
standing up for the rights of his fellow bros.
Well, since you do we know that the human trafficking was the impetus for it?
Oh, yeah.
We do.
It's been talked
okay.
about
Well, then
here
I can't even make a joke about it then because
no, it's talked about New Orleans and
Are they in strip clubs?
human
Has there
trafficking.
been has somebody actually busted a strip club with?
Yeah, I mean, there's
Here?
yeah, I mean, I think a lot of this legislation was based on the sort of high-profile murders
Okay.
of strippers.
Sharon
and
Lockhart and all
Yeah.
that. Okay.
relative young age, and
Well, then do what you got to do, I guess.
well, I mean, it's hardly going to change the landscape.
No, it's not going to.
Yeah, you might
That
could address it
particular-
at the
It's-
source.
There probably will continue to be strippers. I guess. is
It just, I
the way
don't,
that
I'm a
goes.
little concerned about people changing what grown up is, because I know a couple, I think in California, they're trying to push smoking up to 21 too, and I always hate it when they change what drunk is or what grown up is and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean,
Like,
in a sense, there's an instinct in me that tends to agree with you. I think that, if you're 18 and you're allowed to go to war, or if you're allowed to, be tried as an adult, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera,
smoke and drink and
you ought to be
strip
able to.
if you want.
Well, and
Exotic
clearly,
dance, I'm
Kenny
sorry.
missed his opportunity to interject an actual meaning into his.
We can do Kenny's job better than he can,
Yes.
basically.
Yes.
We can be better
So,
conservatives
His
than
concerns
Kenny
about
can.
whether or not the stripper had a fat ass was more important than whether or not her own ability to choose, what
Yep.
she wants
Kenny,
to
if
do
you
with
need
herself
help.
and her body.
Being a good conservative, just contact us. We'll tell you.
You can hunker down right here.
Right.
We already know what you're going to say, so we can just tell you.
Anyway, all right. Well, I guess that's the end of the Ken Havard part of it.
I don't think it's the end of Ken, but we'll
No.
revisit him on another day.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm
you know,
sure.
he's far from even the worst dude up there.
I only
so
think
it's
he had half his foot in his mouth. I mean, he's got the capacity to really jam that thing down there.
He did pull one of those "I'm not apologizing" things afterwards.
Not really
Like,
No,
sorry.
yeah, he didn't.
Yeah.
It
Here,
was-
what I'm doing is I'm not doing something.
It was, and this is not an original thought, but a lot of people went to, oh, he's piggybacking on Trumpism, where well, everything is about what you can and can't get away with
PC,
saying,
yeah.
and blah 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 blah. So that's just part of the zeitgeist, I guess. So there's Ken Havard. What else do we have on the list that we would like to get to next? Let me throw things out for y'all.
You want to do a speed round?
Speed round.
Next 10 minutes?
Okay. Speed round is this. Sidney Torres might run for mayor.
Mm-hmm.
Quick
He would be
reaction.
the Trump of New Orleans, huh?
Yeah. Well,
Celebrity guy, runs for mayor.
not only celebrity guy, but also inherited wealth dude, real estate mogul, kind of garish lifestyle type of a thing.
Good looking.
Do you think so? You
A lot of the ladies I know think he's
the
good looking.
ladies say this.
Drives funny automobile or drives crazy little vehicles.
Yeah.
He's got a
Did
penchant
you see
for
the trailer for the
weird
show?
little-
No.
You didn't see the trailer for
No.
the show?
The
No.
Trashanova show back in the day?
No, the one that's now going to be based on him.
There's a show based on Sidney Torres.
This is the second show that was going to be based on them because they were going to do one back in the day, a reality show about him running a garbage business.
No, but there's a show that's based on a guy. It's not. It's
a
like
show like a drama?
Yes.
Yeah.
An act? Oh,
Yeah, it show. I watched the trailer, which I thought, because on the trailer it's like Star Wars meets, Steve Jobs.
is it?
Jobs.
Jobs. Steve Jobs.
Jobs.
Is
I
it?
like
It's
Jobs.
not set in outer space or anything like that.
No, but it has a little Blade Runner quality.
It does.
Yeah, well, because
Okay,
they've got
just
super
stop describing
high-tech,
it because I have to watch
super,
this
it's super
now.
high tech.
I'm trying to find this.
It's about him, or it's about a Trashanova.
It's based on
type?
a wealthy entrepreneur who comes to the out of control police department with out of control
Oh,
crime
it's about his little
with a
crime
technical solution that's so it's hot and it's happening.
Did he write it, or did he?
I
Is
think
he
he
a
was the
producer?
inspiration.
Okay, so one of his Hollywood friends, like Kid Rock or somebody, or Lenny Kravitz, or one of those guys, knew somebody that said, "Hey, We're
Yeah.
gonna do a show about
We're gonna do
Your-
this.
your Batman type.
I can't remember the.
He is
actors.
almost
I'm
a
trying to find
type
it. I
of.
thought I had.
When I think about him and his vigilante crime efforts, and then I look at the little vehicles he drives around the quarter, man, he might
Yeah,
think
see,
he's
there's-
Batman.
Well, yeah. There's a to me. There's a slight gap there between some segues
Between Batman and Sidney Torres.
and the Batmobile.
yeah, because there's more than a slight gap there.
Yeah.
He's
So-
not been to a Buddhist monastery or whatever those guys were.
It's gonna be
here it
on
is.
Fox.
Okay, yeah, it's Sidney Torres's French Quarter crime-fighting efforts inspire new Fox TV series, and this is WGNO. The crime-fighting man in black. What is the crime-fighting man in black? He's the man in black? Where did that happen? Is the inspiration for a new network show. A spokeswoman for New Orleans businessman Sidney Torres IV. I didn't know that he was Sidney Torres IV.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
I thought it was IV.
IV.
Said in a news release that a new Fox series called APB is loosely based on Torres's crime patrol in the French Quarter. APB is the story of a billionaire who buys an entire police precinct in Chicago after a loved one is murdered. So he's like,
Definitely Bruce Wayne.
yes. So anyways, it doesn't really go much
Okay,
further
I
than
can't
that.
wait to see that.
It's scheduled to debut in February 2017. So
Oh, coming right up.
Yeah. At which point, maybe Sidney Torres will be elected mayor. Like, is that next year that they're going to do this, or is it? That's the other question. When is the mayor's election? Because
Don't confuse me with
I know
details.
they keep moving the election. Like there's some proposal to move the mayor's election forward or backward. Or does anybody remember this? Do you remember this?
I don't remember it. Let's move on this. This is supposed to be the speed round.
Okay, I'm sorry. That was a speed.
No, I won't vote for Sidney Torres.
Okay. What else is in?
Who's he going to
there?
run against, you think? Nobody knows?
Oh, a whole bunch of people.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Latoya's going to run.
Okay.
Probably
Are you-
Jason Williams.
Oh, wow.
Really? They told you?
No, I'm
Oh,
guessing.
You're guessing.
Like who's going to run for mayor? Probably some other people.
Walt Lachey?
Oh, yeah, maybe that's possible.
Helena?
Maybe Helena Moreno.
It could be crowded
Helena Moreno.
and entertaining.
Helena Moreno is second to cellar door as the most beautiful phrase in the English language. Did you know that?
No, I did not know that.
It's
I
true.
didn't know.
Helena
Cellar Door.
Moreno. Just say it a few times.
It is fun to say.
Helena Moreno. Helena Moreno. It's a beautiful name. I think I saw her in the news recently too. She did something like super good. I forgot what it was.
Okay, so Sydney. I think that's all the news stuff.
That's all you have for the speed round? Not even 3 items?
Well, you want to talk about Pirates Alley?
Oh, well, no. I want to talk about the fence at Bayou Boogaloo.
Let's do. I was waiting for you to say this.
Salivating for this.
Yeah.
No, I think
Yeah.
I'd rather do.
It
this.
was great because it was only up for like 18 hours. It was a social media outburst, and I'm assuming it was designed, it was all centered around the ideal market. Because people would go and buy booze there
Yeah.
and then sit on the banks and watch the shows or be a part of the festival or whatever, which is a open air festival, free festival. So the fence was either used to keep black folks out and to keep people from the ideal market. I guess they were getting a part of the liquor sales or something like that.
Mm.
And then what? 18 hours later, after a social media outcry,
So
one picture I saw accompanied with a news story was of dudes taking, it could have been the same picture actually, of dudes taking fence segments off a truck and setting them up. And they must have played it backwards because the next picture I saw was dudes taking fence segments and putting them back on the truck. It could have actually been
it could have been the same
the same
picture.
picture, just like maybe played it.
You just in
like
your
we
mind, which way are the
is the
fences
fence
going?
half built or is it half torn down? I don't know.
An existential question.
Right.
No, like when I first saw it, I thought. I mean, this is me just like looking at people bitching on Twitter. without stopping to read what it actually is, I thought, oh, fence at Bayou Boogaloo. They're obviously going to stop people from finally jumping in the goddamn bayou.
Mm-hmm.
Which
no,
I thought,
that's part of it, isn't it?
No,
that people
because-
jump in the bayou.
yeah, that's what they do. And I thought when I saw a fence, like my mind went, oh, good. Oh, they're keeping people from jumping in the bayou because the fucking bayou is disgusting. It's got like amoebas and shit in there.
The
And
brain-eating kind.
The brain-eating amoebas.
Cars.
It's got abandoned vehicles.
A dead person or two, probably.
Right, dead bodies. And
And
alligators.
right, I knew there was one I was missing. It was alligators.
So I'm like, yeah, these fucking idiots every year jump in the goddamn bayou.
Yeah,
Like,
no, that's part of it, I think. And they get in their boats, and all that is just part of.
That's part of the
of
festival.
yeah, they build special boats to do it.
Yeah. This,
Okay, it's almost. I like that. What I'm calling Bayou Boogaloo these days is Endymion Fest.
Well,
Or
that's
Midsummer Endymion.
I happened to be going up there and I saw the fence before the furor erupted, and it's exactly. I was coming up Jeff Davis, so I got that like end of the bayou look.
Yeah, that little beautiful
and I thought,
kind of.
oh, look, they're roping off areas. It's Endymion
Yeah.
on the water.
Midsummer Endymion.
But since I don't actually go to the event, I thought, I guess that's how they do it.
Right, it's the way it's always been, but it hasn't been. The event, it's like a few years, but I don't know how old it is, but I remember always going, I'm not going to that. It's a neighborhood thing. It's for people in that neighborhood and blah, blah, blah. If I go there, it will be like if people from over here came to Friendship Day in Algiers and shit. It's like, no, it's a neighborhood thing. And then it started blowing up, and I was like, I'm not going because now it's blowing up.
yeah.
And then in the last few years, it's like, I'm not going because it seems like the biggest douchebag festival in New Orleans.
I can't even.
And the fence kind of drove that home for me. I was like, I knew it!
Well, here's another thing that the anti-fence brigade pointed out was that they think that it's the first step toward cordoning off the festival and charging admission.
Right.
Like that's
Midsummer
how big,
Jazz Fest.
Right, Midsummer Jazz Fest. That's how big they're thinking now. Like fucking Bayou Boogaloo.
It's just, yeah, and it's also,
Well, New
it's
Orleans
just,
doesn't seem to be able to have anything be localized within the city
anymore, no.
anymore. Everything has to be an entire city event.
Yeah.
And not only an entire city event, but also like as soon as you get on the in the travel literature, then you're an authentic New Orleans neighborhood experience that everybody has to come from out of town to
That
see.
you too can go to.
That
Yes.
you too can experience, and that's the game now. Like it's like
It's
let's
the goal.
right.
It's not the game. It's the goal.
Yeah. Yeah. And I saw one of the stages and I was like, that's a big ass stage for a little neighborhood festival, which it ain't. That's not what it is anymore, I don't guess. And it seemed like it was kind of going that direction the last few years, and it was always just like I think I remember somebody was offering me a booth there for my art, and I was like, how much is it? And they told me. I was like, oh god damn,
It's a lot of money to
I don't
just
remember
get in.
exactly what it was, but it was a few hundred, which really isn't a lot of money, but it was more than I was willing to pay at that time. And then it just seemed like more Endymion. It's like Mid-City seems like it's like Metairie is annexed Mid-City. Has that always been the way it was?
Well, no. So I had this thought earlier that Mid-City is the Lakeview of our generation, where like when we were kids, like the young adults with families and stuff all lived in Lakeview.
Okay.
And because they wanted to live in Metairie and New Orleans at the same time, and now all those people are a little bit older now,
and then also Katrina hit Lakeview pretty hard, so
right, so it's different. But
it's the new Lakeview.
But Mid-City is now where the up and coming young white people who are starting families and stuff and want to live in Metairie but really want to live in New Orleans. That's where they are now. They're all in Mid-City. And I mean, they're building stuff there to make it look like Metairie. Like you go up down, we've talked about this before.
Right. The
whole
Carrollton
Avenue stretch is like box.
Meterish.
It's
Them
very
ducks are coming.
It's very veterans.
There's going to be ducks and weird sculptures.
Yeah, people have to
Any
stop
day now.
trash talking veterans, since veterans actually look better than Claiborne, for instance.
Well, I mean, I guess it's not
Because
too
Claiborne's
different.
going to have to go to saturate in ugliness, so then it can be reborn as veterans.
Claiborne on the other side of the interstate.
Yeah, I'm not talking mid-city, I'm talking Claiborne.
Not Claiborne with the
Toledano
interstate.
to-
Oh,
Claiborne Uptown,
Yeah.
where they just put in that the Magnolia Marketplace is what it is
Yes.
that they celebrated because oh my God, we have a Petco.
Yeah.
Like ooh.
Oh yeah, and there's a Michaels there and a Ross Dress for Less.
Yeah, and actually, I'm kind of excited that there's a Michaels and a Petco because of I use both of those businesses, but still,
Yeah.
I also like the way you said, and people will say, we got him. We got a Petco. We didn't get anything.
like it's a playoff berth in a football team or something. Yeah.
Or it's a special gift.
Did you see we're
we
getting a
opened up our
Target?
stocking, and there was a Petco.
well, last week they went to the ninth
Look
ward.
what I got.
They went to the
Petco.
ninth ward and opened a CVS last week.
They got a CVS.
We got a CVS.
Oh,
And not only that, but like the mayor.
Everybody's
and,
got a
everybody goes out
CVS
there
now.
to cut the
No,
ribbon.
right, and nobody. That's what they don't tell you.
yeah,
They're
everybody's got
giving away CVS's,
one. They are,
like,
man.
The clap.
Everybody's got one.
Yeah. You win, not special.
Every time I see somebody like a building get raised, I'm like, damn, they're putting a CVS there. Even though I don't know what is going there, I'm like, damn, there comes another CVS.
There's
Or
one-
Walgreens.
There's one I read about this week on Magazine Street where there was a fire in some building in like the 4,000 block of
Oh
Magazine.
yeah, was that with the Latin record store?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the same owner wants to rebuild and renovate, but like city council was like very concerned that there's gonna be box retail in there somewhere.
That they're gonna get a CVS.
They're gonna get a
CVS, right? So I don't know.
Generally, when you see a Walgreens go up, you know that you're going to get a CVS.
Yes.
Like very
Yeah, it's
soon.
like a secondary infection.
Yeah, they're a binary system. You know, there must be some sort of cahoots happening.
I gotta tell you what, I was really happy the day I found out that my Walgreens on St. Charles was going back to 24 hours. Like that was like that was like a sign of recovery from Katrina.
Right.
Like
Right.
they went back to 24 hours and I'm like, oh yeah, like we're back in civilization.
I remember Rite Aid used to always. What happened to them? They were in it for a while, and then they just kind of like they got washed up or something. You know, because Rite Aid was poor. They were popping up everywhere
Well,
about
there used to
15
be-
years ago.
There used to be you couldn't buy booze at the pharmacies.
That's
all
Walgreens
changing.
decided they were, or was it CVS? One of them decided they were gonna. They weren't at the corner of happy and healthy. They were at the corner of healthy. One of them did.
Yeah, no cigarettes.
Right, no cigarettes, and then I guess no booze. No cigarettes.
What fun is that?
Yeah, fuck that. I mean, I don't even smoke, but
well, since
you should be able to get cigarettes at a fucking
Since you brought
drugstore.
this up, I'm gonna try to find. Oh no, this is the Wall Street Journal one. There were a couple of articles this week about New Orleans. There was one in Vogue that was kind of like
No, you're never gonna get it.
Yeah.
Never gonna get it in Vogue.
It was about the secrets of New Orleans and for the luxury
The
traveler.
secret's out.
Right, the secret is out.
Oh, I did see the one about the secrets of New Orleans.
And there was another one in the Wall Street Journal about the how we're better now as a food town, and the reasons were because it's more like the rest of the America's exciting food.
Oh, okay.
town, right. So there's that, but
More shit you're used to.
I wanted to just quote this one thing. This is Julia Reed writing in the Wall Street Journal. Julia Reed, also, by the way, is a local. Anyway, let me just read this paragraph because just to hit what you said. Many of the newest establishments are reminders that New Orleanians may also have gotten a little lazy. Locals who used to stock their bar from the shelves at Rite Aid Now pore over the 40-odd boutique gins at Keefe & Company, where they might also pick up an artisanal loaf from Belgrade Bakery, which mills its own grain instead of the ubiquitous squishy French bread. So it's like,
I've never heard of either of those fucking places.
well, apparently you're a little lazy.
Again, still getting...
Oh, okay.
Wait, where did she say we're getting our booze?
From Keefe & Company.
No, before that.
Oh, at Rite Aid.
See, there you go.
Which,
That
if
was
she'd have
why-
known what was...
Circling back to our earlier topic.
She should have said K&B at least, man. They had that good brand of gin. What was it? What was it called? What brand of it was? Oh, it was K&B brand gin.
Right, that's right.
It was purple and shit.
But there's like, come on, man.
Yeah. I've never heard of any of those places. And I wonder how much...
So is
What
this,
did they do to the grain?
Is this the new... Is being special the new being like something, everything else?
That's the point of this whole article. Like, just from my reading of it, it's like now we have access to all of the trendy things that happen everywhere else, and isn't that great for us now? And I don't know.
She bagged on French bread, huh?
Well, it's squishy.
It's different.
Is
It's
it
not
squishy?
French bread.
Well, it's not. No, of course. But she says
I like the
ubiquitous
squishy
squishy
stuff.
French bread.
I don't like the stuff that rips up the roof of your mouth. I
But
prefer it
isn't
squishy.
that like? I mean, I'm an idiot, I guess. But I thought that the French bread everybody likes in New Orleans is like the crispy and airy type. That rips up.
Well, no, that might be how everybody likes it in New Orleans. It's not how I like it because it's like eating a bowl
She's
of
talking
Captain
about
Crunch
po' boy
afterwards.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
Leidenheimers and whatnot, but I don't like it when it's been
I
sitting
like
around
it
for
when
3
you take
days.
a loaf of that bread and you toss it over your shoulder like you're in France.
France.
A little baguette over your shoulder, But in New Orleans, it just curves to the.
Oh yeah, it's kinda,
That's the squishy kind.
That's the squishy kind.
'Cause
Okay.
it's curved.
Now I understand. It's got ED.
What are they?
Yes, it
That's
does.
the problem.
I was thinking about making a chubby joke, but you beat me to it. What do they do to the grains there?
The grains. The
Bellegarde,
They-
that guy. has-
Bellegarde Bakery mills its own grain. What is Bellegarde Bakery?
I've had Bellegarde bakery bread. It has like a mission statement on the bag, which
Oh, good.
basically says something like, "You don't really even deserve to be eating this bread." I'm not exactly sure.
You've lucked into it, so savor the flavor.
Yeah,
Because shit ain't getting this good again.
I will get because it's remarkable.
Oh, it is good?
No, the bread's really good, but
Oh,
I
okay.
mean,
In the end.
it's artisanal. It is good bread, but the sermon was a little heavy.
Right, right.
Oh,
I wonder if milling your own grain actually makes a whole lot of difference. Or is it all smoke and mirrors?
it's bread. It's just bread. For fuck's sake.
I know.
No, it might be really good bread, but like I said, the sermon.
Right.
Yeah.
You're going to heaven after eating this
Well,
bread,
it's
so
kind of like
it's the body
watching
of Christ.
Cooking shows. Someone who likes to cook, you watch cooking shows, and they start getting sort of like. They start acting sort of the same way the dog does when the dog eats the food. Like, I'm passionate. I'm falling in love.
Yeah, yeah. The
Sometimes,
cooing
sometimes
and the
a burger is just a burger. Yeah.
Well, Jeffrey thinks food is bullshit, and I've been.
He doesn't. He cooks all the time.
Yeah, but he cooks weird shit. He puts almonds in his spaghetti and shit.
Well, that doesn't mean he's not. Well,
He-
you think the worship of food is distasteful, perhaps
Tasteful is an interesting.
distasteful.
It's an interesting word to choose anyway here. Maybe. Let me.
Doesn't want to talk about it.
No, I don't really want to.
You know what
about it.
Romy told me, who has been cooking for me for the last 15 years, and now that we've separated, I've had to start cooking for myself, and I ask her things, and she said, you know what really brings out the flavor is salt and butter. And I was like, okay, I don't know. And then I had made this fried rice dish, and I was eating it, and I was like, man, this thing's just a little bland. And then the next night, I threw a little bit of salt and butter into it, and then bam, that shit was bumping.
You don't cook with butter normally, like
I usually cook with olive oil.
that's. See, the way I learned to cook was you just start everything with a stick of butter, Like,
The
it
whole
doesn't really
stick.
matter. No matter
And then
what
you
it is.
finish it with a stick of butter.
Like it's a
The second, all right. Well,
bowl of cereal, stick of butter,
that'll kill you though.
glass of ice water,
I mean, you're still alive. So.
just a stick of butter. You just start that way and it's going to be fine.
Oh, I've learned. I'm learning.
Let me where did we end up here? Oh, so we were on this article by Julia Reed since we got into it because of the Rite Aid thing. I just want to read to y'all one more quote from her just to give you an idea of what this article is about. She's talking about the changes in New Orleans after Katrina. She says, given the demographics and the fact that Katrina managed to blow apart such entrenched institutions as a corrupt city hall and an outdated levee board, the pre-Katrina culinary scene now seems insular and narrow. This is an article about
okay.
the article is about the culinary scene, but she has to get in this little barb about how Katrina washed away.
It's better now.
It washed away corruption from New Orleans. Did you know this?
Food corruption.
It's like there's
I'm out
more-
of business then. My work is done.
there's no more corruption in City Hall because of Katrina. But also it improved the culinary. So if your city happens to flood at all, just know that the
All
corruption is
manner
going
of
out.
greatness will be falling.
right.
It's gonna be
Even the bread will get better
the corrupt politician will be replaced by high quality bread. That's basically what happened.
because the levee board got merged into one board. Now the bread is better.
Let my people need.
Jesus, Julia.
Anyway,
Okay, well,
so where did we land? That's it. That's the end of that.
anything else we can go through?
Do you want to talk about the Poshtel at all? Do you want to talk about
Poshtel.
The
Jeff.
Do you want to
Poshtel.
talk about the Postal, Karen?
It's not.
Well, I mean,
A
I think
hotel.
it, only slightly. Only
Okay.
slightly. went
It
down.
is a speed round, so.
Yeah, just that, hold on to your hats if you're live anywhere near the river. Also, just kind of the irony of the idea that we're stupid if you lived in a neighborhood that flooded,
Mhm.
and we should all head to high ground on the river, and that would be the most logical and sane thing for all of us residents of the city to do. But so now instead we're building it as a hostel for part-time residents.
Right.
So we're taking the most precious of our, high ground and reserving it for fun.
Right, and it's not only is it a hostel, it's a Poshtel, which is a new thing, right? Like it's not really even a hostel. It's like a slumming it, but really, if you want to, in the luxury term.
I think what the opponents were saying is that it's like it has an app, and it's a hookup thing.
It's good as long as it has an app.
Yeah, it's got an app that supposedly they're sort of it's like a Tinder hotel.
Okay, so if you're staying in bunk 47 and you match with the person in bunk 16, you
Yeah.
just roll on over
Oh
there.
my God!
Some version of that. It's a party.
Do you have to? Is there a law that says you have to input your age and weight? Because
Kenny is going to file that amendment once Susie hears about the Poshtel.
Well, the Poshtel kind of, that whole concept sort of drifts back to this whole,
I'm sure they have age requirements.
we're super rich, but we want to seem like we're roughing it and poor, but we
Yeah.
don't want it to be, it's that continuing fractal-like narrative, almost reminiscent of the Buddhist journey, where you're super rich and then you go out into the world to try and experience what it's really like.
authenticity
and stuff.
tourism.
But you have this safety net so that if you do happen to
Catch malaria.
or get can or whatever, you can
Yeah.
parachute right out, man. And
I want to go be.
I'm gonna try and make as much money out of it as I can. So, Poshtel
Well, a
residents,
hostel-
please come to my gallery
hostel is
and buy
for
some
a-
authentic New Orleans
A
fucking
hostel's
folk
for a
art.
loser. A loser's going.
Yeah, when you
Yeah.
can't afford a hotel.
But this is a nice loser place.
And meanwhile, like
that's
the
what
poor
they're
folks,
telling you. They're telling you, don't worry.
the nouveau riche, they buy big, stupid looking beds and big mansions, and they move out to the suburbs and shit because that's their idea of where they should arrive. You know, a cul-de-sac and a Cadillac and a big old house.
Now
and
they're
shit.
going to mid city, so.
Yeah.
So when we started talking about this, you mentioned the whole concept of like our neighborhoods where we're supposed to live, like we're building a sustainable city on the high ground. Like, why are we not living there instead of the tourists, right?
Yeah.
So there's a quote from Stacey Headweller when they approved the Poshtel. Stacey says, she voted for the Poshtel, and she says specifically because there has been a consistent drumbeat of requests to move tourists into other neighborhoods than the Quarter or the CBD. And this is what this does. Meaning, I guess, that it's good that we're pushing tourists into the neighborhoods? Is that what she
No,
means
that's
by
not
that?
good. That's
But,
not good.
I mean, that's my conclusion.
I don't know where the
from reading it.
constant drumbeat is from. That's
Well, wait,
That's-
who is clamoring to see this happen?
I mean, I think the constant drumbeat reference, I'm guessing. I don't know.
it's from.
No, I mean, it's just that there's a constant drumbeat to stop building hotels in high-rise hotels
Okay, right.
in downtown quarter, margins of the quarter. So,
So the response to
the
that
drumbeat is probably a different kind of drumbeat than we want these hotels to come to our neighborhood.
Yeah, we don't want them to be Poshtels and Airbnbs all
Yeah,
over
it's
where
the other.
we live.
It's like the hostel Poshtel equation. This is the affordable housing hotel equation, right? Like nobody wants affordable housing in their neighborhood. So, theoretically,
Yeah, well.
it's a
No.
NIMBY.
NIMBY,
it's a-
yeah.
so this is a
NIMBYism.
different NIMBYism.
Yeah, they keep nimbying it onto where you live, and then.
Yeah, I mean,
and
I'm
then what
not
happens?
saying I agree with it. I'm just saying it's basically saying we have this bitter pill of tourism that we have to take, and we're going to
We're going to spread it around.
portion it out to all these different neighborhoods. I mean, I do think it's kind of interesting that the idea that people should be able to stay where they think they want to stay is of primary importance. Like, I like my neighborhood, but wouldn't have been my first choice. It's the neighborhood I could afford. That's why I bought a house here, because I could.
What the fuck, man? There's a peacock.
I'm sorry.
It's a fucking peacock.
We have a peacock, not as famous
Probably
as
if-
the other peacock.
Yeah, there are more than one. That's
There's more than one peacock.
In the last week or so, I've started to realize, wait a minute, this is not the peacock that I know. This is a different fucking peacock, right?
That's right. Our peacock is stealth. He doesn't have a Facebook page. He doesn't-
Mr. P is not our guy.
No, he's not our guy. I'm sorry.
Okay, I am now I'm like self-actualizing about this because I was like, oh, this is my guy. He's in the news. Blah 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 blah. Nope.
No.
Find out there are several of these fuckers.
There are. Yeah.
It's a bird sanctuary. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hijack it, but
No,
if Karen was here, I definitely wanted to talk about the peacock.
But if you're promoting whatever neighborhood this is, by the way, is it Leonidas? Is it?
No, this motherfucking shit is Hollygrove, man.
Hollygrove. Are we in Hollygrove?
Northwest Carrollton.
Northwest Carrollton.
Wikipedia says
Holly
this
Grove.
shit is Hollygrove.
Okay. If you're
Oh, Wikipedia.
No, and I knew someone was gonna say that, and it cites some legit looking shit,
okay.
something that goes by an acronym.
Okay.
You
So
know?
if you're promoting the Hollygrove Hostel or Poshtel or whatever, there's a peacock in your logo. Is what you.
Oh yeah.
is
Well,
what-
no, because we have the lesser known. We have like the fucking monsters of the fucking peacock. You know, it's the Hydrox peacock.
Well, Hydrox
Not
was
the
the
good
original.
Our peacock.
It was?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know
That peacock is known to be aggressive and pecking on cars.
This one, ours.
No, ours is perfectly behaved.
Okay,
You guys have the civil peacock.
We do.
right.
Okay.
I saw some people chasing him the other day.
Really? They
Yeah.
probably thought he was the famous peacock.
Right, there's a identity crisis happening.
Oh, don't chase him.
Here in the Holly
He
Grove
used to
Bird
live
Sanctuary.
on Apricot Street. That peacock. Our peacock.
Right.
And they had a pig. And they had a Facebook page, which was the House of Yes.
Really?
That house on the corner.
All right.
And there were quite
Write that
a
down.
few...
Exotic animals.
Yeah, I think they were having... I don't think you'd call it an existential crisis, but it was a crisis of some sort, in which I think it was a lot of bachelor types
Okay.
that had broed out. It's bros, not Bernie bros.
These bros had a.
Bros. They had a
pig.
They had a peacock.
I don't. These are definitely different types of bros. Then
They've calmed down.
the bros that I see in the quarter would not have had a peacock.
No, they calmed down now. And I think they got something happen there because it's all tidied up. But the peacock escaped from the House of Yes,
And now he just.
and now he lives over on Pritchard Place, and he is
That is where I see
well
him
tended
mostly.
by the ladies over there who buy him fruit.
So this is Holly Grove peacock. Or West Carrollton or
Holly
whatever.
Grove peacock is fine. I just think it's important to remember that we get no love because
Right. He is the lesser known.
Right, he's
He's not Mr. Fucking P.
because people
But it's good. You might want
redlining.
You might want to keep your
Peacock
peacock on the
redlining.
down low because all of a sudden it becomes Bayou Boogaloo.
Yeah.
Like everybody comes for the peacock. And
Well, we are because Johnny Blanchard put up at the Rock and Roll, Mid City Rock and Roll, so people started saying this was Mid City. So see, so see what happens.
Yeah,
It's
this
a
is
slippery
not. Fuck
slope.
that.
It's a slippery
I'll
slope.
be Leonidas or East Carrollton before
Yeah.
I be Mid City.
You know what you
throw
need?
that shit over on
you know
us.
what you know what you need is a fence. He's like a big, beautiful fence between here
That's what we call Earhart.
to keep the mid.
Right now we have one blocking the street. So
That fence, I've had
every time it's moved, do you move it? The little
to block it,
no, the block the
to
street
unblock
closed.
or to block.
To unblock it.
No, I move it to block.
Oh, so you
If
don't
I
want
can't
cars
park
on it.
here, no
Nobody's
one's parking
parking.
Oh,
here.
so because your
Okay.
whole block right now is what you're talking about is your.
It's in a state of flux because most of the work's done.
Most work's done except for the part that they messed up in the sinkhole they created.
I
There is a
saw that sinkhole.
We have a sinkhole now.
I
Pretty
was like,
excited about
I
it.
have not even gone and gazed at it because I was just like, my mind
So the
can't
whole
handle
block it's blocked off except this kid who's like 10 years old who lives on the previous block. And I had a fight the other day because I was pulling the blockade
You
back
got in a fight
place.
with a 10-year-old?
He started it. I was pulling the blockade to blockade it back up, and the kid said, "That street's open." I said, "No, that street is not open."
Oh my god!
it. I would have loved to have heard the fight between you and the 10-year-old.
So then he goes, the man came and he moved the gate, the street open. I said, "What do you care?" I'm like the classic old lady, right? Like I should have had a broom and chased him.
You met your match. You should have said, "Do you know that I've been in the Wall Street Journal?"
And I said, "I live here."
And I don't mean just quoted. I had one of them little pictures.
I got stippled, man.
Yeah, great. Pull rank on a 10-year-old. That's so. This because. But here's the other thing. This Apricot Street is almost the project is almost complete now. Like the
Yes.
street is almost back.
Mitch was
Very
bragging
excited.
about it on his Twitter,
The
right?
mayor tweeted about it.
Did you
About
see
Apricot
that?
Street?
Yes.
Get out.
Yeah.
He did.
Last week he
I-
was
No.
out. I think he was out here stalking you guys.
He
was like-
posted a
was on-
photo?
He put a picture up of the street and the work, and he's like, "Apricot Street is a sign of progress
Yeah.
in New Orleans," or something.
Do you
like
know
that.
why
He was
they
like,
had to do
shit
this?
getting done,
Why,
y'all.
why do they have to do this?
Because the clay drainage pipe under the sidewalk it's under the sidewalk, and it had cracked.
It's a
And-
crack drainage.
Which that
So-
terracotta shit does all the
The
time.
water, the only drain for the street is in front of this house, so all the water was coming in, and the water was scouring under the house. So my house,
Under-
the stairs
underneath
are
this house.
separating. Yes,
Sinkhole
tree-
possibly forming.
we're forming a sinkhole, and I've been complaining about it for about 7 months, which is why that kid, he just moved here, okay?
Hey, fucking hipster.
he's
He just-
10.
Where are you from, kid?
This This sinkhole's been forming since before you were born.
How long you been here?
So it's been a
You
long...
post Katrina, ain't you?
It costs $180,000, the city told me,
Oh, really?
to fix the street.
Seems cheap.
It seems like a bargain to me, because
Yeah.
now my house isn't going to fall into a hole.
Yeah, it definitely helps you out.
Yeah,
I thought they got it done remarkably quick.
Well,
When I saw this shit start to happen, I was like, "Oh, it's gonna be like this for 6 months."
Yeah, I'm trying to pull up this.
well, the fact that they decided to give me a double driveway when I only have a single driveway.
Yeah, the driveway to
It's a little-
nowhere.
But and we did have an encounter about the trees, because they took all the trees.
But there was no way they could have prevented
They
that. huh?
saved one tree, and they plunked it across the street.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I came out and I said, "Hey, that's my tree. I'd like to keep that tree because those trees cost me like $500." I said, "I'd like to keep that tree." So the contractor was like, "Okay, you're keeping the tree." Oh my goodness, look at that!
This is
I
May
didn't even
19th.
know.
Mitch Langer crews about to complete a concrete pour on Apricot Street. DPW will also replace a damaged drainage line. Hashtag NOLA progress.
Yeah, he was like,
So-
"Check this shit out, we did." Bam.
Bam!
I
So-
saw it and I was like, "Oh, someone's posting." I thought it was Jeff posting something.
So then we there was a story here.
I'm
Tree?
sorry.
Oh, so then I came out, and the tree, I said to the guy, "I'll take the tree because I can take it to Mississippi or something, whatever. It's a nice tree." And the next day I came, and the tree was in the back of a pickup truck.
You convinced him it was a nice tree.
And so, well, that was the plan all along. So I said, "Why is my tree in the back of the pickup truck?" And the guy told me, this is like I've sent the puppy to live on a farm. The guy said, "We're going to make a special dump run." I said, "No, you're not. You're taking
What does that
my
mean?
tree. We're taking all the tree debris to the dump in a little tiny Toyota pickup truck."
Oh, okay. So he was going to take the tree and plant it in his
Yeah.
yard or
I
something.
said, "That's my tree. You told me you're going to leave it." And so they took it out the back of the pickup truck and then poured a bunch of concrete on it
And then killed it?
and killed it. So,
They did help me wrangle Loverboy one day.
Really?
Yeah. Because when he gets out, I guess he just likes for you to chase him. He doesn't really do anything except run from you. And they helped me wrangle him one day.
He's a bad, bad boy.
Well, he definitely darted out that fucking gate. He saw there was weakness because me and somebody else were coming out. And she was in the lead and didn't know to,
But if Loverboy does ever go rogue again, he eventually comes back and sits on the porch.
Yeah, you just got to make
Just
it
you
seem
have
like
to
there's
you have
thunder
to
or
offer
something
him
happening.
a loaf of Bellegarde bread.
Okay. Well,
That's
so
the way our attempt to do this shorter did not work.
Not
We're at
quite.
hour 17.
we yeah.
So
On the other hand, I think we got through most of the stuff on
Oh,
the list.
good.
So,
hell yeah.
apart from just I would like to congratulate the city of New Orleans on not being awarded Super Bowl in 2019
I definitely want like that.
because we've already gone through the bullshit that comes with it, and we don't really want to have to deal with it again. They gave it to Atlanta, which is pretty much perfect because now they have to put up with all that shit. A, B, it's just more the NFL exposing itself as we only do this because we're they built a new stadium and we're rewarding them for
Right. But it's not a
Burdening
reward. It's
their
almost like a
taxpayers.
World Cup or an Olympics. It's this huge thing that kind of just sucks and
Yeah.
inconveniences everybody.
it's terrible. So they have to put up with it, and maybe we'll go there and win a Super Bowl in Atlanta, and then we'll just piss
That
them off.
would rock, but
So-
probably not.
No, it's not gonna happen.
You still have a football team?
Yes.
Okay, well,
So there's all that. Did you want to talk about your favorite podcasts that you listen to?
Oh no, that's fine. That's fine. Just thought it was
was
next
it.
time I'll
Okay,
come and
next
we'll
time.
discuss.
you hear that? She had
tedious-
so much fun.
Yeah. I'll come back and discuss tedious podcasts.
Okay.
Podcast tedium.
She wants to come back.
All right. Well, I guess we're gonna wrap up this part of it, right?
Yeah, we're going to do the other two, our usual weekly segments without Kevin.
All right. Well, thanks for coming, Karen. That was really great.
Anytime. Thanks for having me.
Much love.
Toodles.
Okay, so we're back with the final segments today. The first thing we wanted to do before we move on is there were a couple of Twitter questions tonight, and we want to try and answer them. We already let Karen go home, so we're not really gonna.
And by go home, climb up a flight of stairs.
Right, which it's a world away. The questions that we got, one of them was specifically, I think, for her, and it's from Ira, and he asks...
Did he know? Oh, was it during... Wait, how did he know? Did you say?
Yeah, we put out...
I didn't know.
We said on Twitter this afternoon, hey, Karen's going to be here with us. Do you
I
guys
did not
have
know all
questions,
this.
Tim and him? And Tim and him responded with some things. One of them was, Ira asked specifically for Karen, does the Linz have any other cool maps up its sleeve? And Karen's not here to answer that question now.
Let's tweet it at her tomorrow.
We'll do that. But what he's talking about is one of the things that they've done well, even though their staff is reduced lately, and they don't, like she was saying earlier, don't get a chance to cover all the charter school boards and things they would like to do. They do a pretty good job during election season of mapping the results. But I love to, on election night, look at the Linz's results maps.
Yeah.
Figure out where...
Like precinct to precinct?
Yeah, how my precinct voted and stuff. And it's a cool
I wonder
thing
which
to do.
asshole did that. Oh, there's 14 assholes over there.
Exactly right. Like
Okay.
on my block almost. I know.
Like in some of those, I bet, in some of the lesser elections, I mean, you're probably going, 4 people voted for it.
Right.
I wonder which one of those fuckers walking their dogs did it.
Right.
Yeah, I can see how that'd be fun.
Yeah, it is fun. What else do we have? John Jell Jedwards, who is a follower, he was kind of upset that Karen was here because he says, why didn't y'all call me? And
is he speaking in his John Bell Edwards
I think he's
voice?
speaking in his John Bell Edwards voice because he means, I got the hang of this radio show thing now because
he does do a monthly thing on NPR.
Yeah, the governor has a radio show.
Yeah, when is the next one?
The last one was like last week.
Oh, okay,
so
I missed it.
It's got to be soon. I mean, not soon. It's got to be.
It's like a
next month.
fireside chat almost.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
It's old timey.
It's fun.
It's like Pepe O'Daniel.
You should check it
Second
out.
time he's been mentioned in this podcast.
We mass communicating.
We ain't one at a time in here. Don't you want to press the flesh, Pappy? I'll press your flesh.
But the
God bless Charles Durham.
The important thing there is that I would like to invite the governor to come on and be a guest on the Hunger Downcast
Most definitely.
at his nearest convenience. I have a million questions for the governor, and some of them might even be uncomfortable for him, which would be great. So
I could ask State Representative Bagneris, who received 375 emails for the legalization of medical marijuana and 0 against.
mm-hmm.
That was in the news this week. I could ask him.
And he voted the right way for it.
I'm assuming he did. I mean, you'd have to be a real dick to your constituency to be like, I don't give a fuck about 375 of you and 0 of you.
That is what I think.
So.
That was kind of
It seems like he would be. He cares about sick people.
Yeah.
From what I know about him, and if he thinks marijuana would help them, I think he would want to get it to them.
What else do we have here? Larry Larmew says, "What is your favorite snowball?"
God damn, he's a loyal listener, isn't he?
Larry's a good guy.
Hell yeah, Larry.
Maybe Larry should be on the show at some point.
Okay.
We just need to have a list of people to start bringing.
Holla back, Larry.
Larry wants to know what your favorite snowball place is.
Mine?
Yeah, yours. He
I
says
don't-
your, so
I don't really eat snowballs because I try not to get my sugar from anything but booze.
yeah.
You know how your body turns booze into
Mm-hmm.
sugar.
Yep.
So I don't eat a whole lot of sweet stuff because I'm like, nope, saving it for booze. But if I did have one, it would be like, because I know that sometimes they put condensed milk in the snowballs.
Mm-hmm.
But one time, there's one on Opelousas Street in Algiers, and they sell these fuckers for like 75 cents. I don't know if all of them around town do that. Do they?
75-cent snowballs?
Yeah.
Not very often.
Okay, well, this place did as little as like 5 years ago. And they put evaporated milk into the snowball. Oh, no, it was good. I liked it.
Really?
Because
Because
it,
it's not
it knocked
sweet.
back the sweetness. Yeah. Well, I don't like them
Because
sweet.
the syrup itself is sweet, and the like. You
I
don't
think
really
it kind
need
of
more.
it deadened it. You know,
That's
it's like I drink LaCroix because it's like soda, but it's not. It doesn't have that real hardcore kick you over your head sweetness to it.
I didn't know you
And that's
drank
what
LaCroix.
this. Oh, there's one sitting right there, Jeff.
I'm sorry.
The
But-
pamplemousse is the best. So yeah, the one in Algiers that doesn't have a name, and it has one of those circular lazy susans with behind bulletproof glass that you get your snowball in.
Oh,
Like you put your money there and it goes, and then you
Damn.
put the snowball there and it comes back.
okay, that sounds like it's some authenticity to it.
Snowball stand without a name in Algiers is
There
my
you go.
answer
Okay.
on Opelousas.
That-
What's yours?
You know, I don't really. I'm like you. I don't eat a lot of snowballs as an adult person.
Okay.
When I was a kid, there was one on Gentilly Boulevard that I would go do sometimes, and it was nothing special, but Dad would take us on the long excursion to Hanson's, because that's what you're supposed to do as like your duty as a New Orleanian, to go to Hanson's.
Right. This is before the food scene got so diversified after the levee boards got
Right.
consolidated.
But Hanson's is
Katrina
now
happened.
kind of an institution anyway, so
Right.
so that was the one that I remember the most.
But it's part of that old food scene that was kind of lame.
the lazy one.
Yeah, the lazy.
I think they
one.
straddle.
They just take ice and they pour syrup on it. That's dumb.
No, but Hanson's is actually good. Have you had a Hanson snowball before? Are you,
No, bro,
You're talking
I-
like you haven't.
No.
So they actually have this patented shaved ice machine that makes this really fine like texture of a snowball that is unlike anything else that you'll have from almost any other snowball stand. I mean, the shit they say about Hanson's is actually true. It is unique and it is good, but it is such a fucking institution now that there's always a goddamn line there.
Is it the one on Carrollton right up the road?
No, it's the
here?
one on Chapatoulas.
Oh, okay.
Um,
I've seen it.
Yeah, so maybe that's something that's a goal for you this summer. Is when you try
I don't really like snowballs.
I don't either.
You know, I mean, they're okay.
Yeah.
You know,
So I guess that answers that question.
what's another little snowballs? And there's a couple other. Oh, Hugh Biggs. I was always just like, eh.
Yeah.
I might make a shirt for Dirty Boys, my gallery at 901 Charters, y'all. That has Savory Simon on it,
Uh-huh.
and it says Hugh Biggs, and then in parentheses, just okay, sort of okay.
It was basically, at the end of the day, it was just a fried pie. You know, it wasn't.
It was better if you heated it up in the microwave,
Yeah.
but after that, it was okay. I don't miss it.
I mean, this.
It was cool to have. Look,
I don't know. The sweet potato ones were pretty good, and the chocolate ones were pretty good.
yeah, they were okay.
But the, the other ones were just basically like any other.
It wasn't exquisitely good. It was just
No.
sort of okay.
Yeah.
Which is what the shirt's gonna say.
That's about right. Maybe they'll come back someday and be sort of okay again.
It's like
If they could-
we're waiting. Everyone is anxiously waiting.
Yeah.
Waiting for Hugh Biggs. Maybe you can do a bar politics skit called "Waiting for Hugh Biggs."
Waiting for you. Where else are we here in the Twitter questions? There's a couple here from Hopatulis that are like
Hopatulis. Hopatulis.
No, these are specific like technical Louisiana legislature questions that I feel like if we had to answer those right now, we would really get into more of a discussion than I really want to get into now. So sorry about that. But it has to do with the state kind of bigfooting the city. I think actually we talked about that with Karen earlier.
Okay.
So I think that we maybe have even covered that topic a little bit. So
Yeah,
sorry,
Hopatulis has probably already stopped listening because his questions got answered
There you
earlier
go.
in the show.
that's it. That's the best we could do for that one. And those are all the questions that we have. So,
All right, so next segment then.
Next
are
segment is-
you stepping out?
are you stepping out?
Dun, dun. Well, did you do something?
No,
You didn't do anything?
not since last week. No, we spent this last weekend kind of like inside. We had like an inside thing. This is what you do when you're our age and married, I guess. But we didn't get out to anything. We didn't go to the Boogaloo. We didn't do anything
Well,
like
you're
that.
lucky to have not gone there.
No.
I heard it was a shit show. I knew it was a shit show, and I did mention this earlier when the headline on NOLA.com on I think Monday was Bayou Boogaloo. What should we change about it? So that to me was like, oh, it sounds like maybe it was kind of a shit show.
Well, I think it's probably getting crowded.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
We thought about going out to it, to be honest with you, but like it was because it was crowded, we didn't go. And then we also said to ourselves, well, Greek Fest is next week, so we'll go to Greek Fest.
Another thing I've never been to.
No, we like to go to Greek Fest, and it's also nothing really special. It's just
It will be.
It's sitting out on the bayou and eating and drinking. It's just like an outdoor festival, but they have the best food there. Like you get the big box of like pastries, and you get the spring lamb
Artisanal
and
grains
and the best
pastries.
The best calamari you can get.
Oh damn!
Yeah, it's really good.
I do like that stuff.
So
is it bung or is it calamari?
it's calamari.
Okay,
So
you never know. Well,
anyway,
I went with my estranged wife, Romy. So we used to have this tradition when we were married where we would save our change, and when the change jar got filled up, we would take it, cash it all in, and then go out to dinner on it. And then when we separated, it was about half full, and then she kept adding to it, and then I started one in my apartment.
the change drawer.
A change jar, like
Jar.
just where you just throw your change.
Okay.
And so we decided, like, hey, let's just put them together and we'll go out to dinner.
Mm-hmm.
And we went to Doris Metropolitan, which is where the Alpine used to be. Did you ever eat at the Alpine?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I had friends who used to work at the Alpine.
Yeah, everybody, like, it was kind of it was a local haunt.
It was one of those local places in the quarter that everybody went
Not
to.
super good.
No.
They did have a dish there called praline duck, though. And it was a duck that was covered with, like, praline sauce.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I definitely was willing to give up some, what's it called? What's the thing your pancreas produces? Insulin? I was willing to sacrifice some insulin for that one.
I had a friend who was a bartender there. I used to spend a lot of time after work.
Yeah.
It was-
Like, Drunk Jackson Square artists would hang out
Yeah.
there. It was a little local haunt. Well, and the owner, remember, well, he was a funny guy. Anyways, they moved on out, and then they put this really fancy aged beef place there, and it's always been very good. I went there a couple times, and it was pretty pricey, and now it's even more so. But we went there. Romy had an aged sirloin, I think, that she didn't seem super impressed with, but I got like a short rib, and
Okay.
it was ballin', really good. But everything was really expensive too. The short rib came, it was a beef short rib. It came on like a 14-inch bone, which is awesome. I gave it to the big dog, who is Karen Gadbois'
Right.
dog, who sounds like an elephant upstairs. Also, our waiter's name was Atticus, who I've always wanted to meet somebody named this because I have a lot of questions for him.
Sure you would.
Especially since the recent book came out, right?
Right.
This guy I've been wanting to talk to since forever.
Right.
Like, first of all, your parents named you Atticus. Do you have to live up to that? Damn, that's kind of a pain in the ass. Oh, Jesus, it got so much worse because, come to find out he becomes a racist,
Right.
Which I never really actually read the new book.
You do.
Go Set a Watchman.
Yeah.
But I had read some articles that he did, and I was like, fuck, there's a bunch of people named Atticus right now who, it's like a statue, you don't want to have it for a living person or anybody that can be,
Yeah.
So anyways, his name was Atticus, and I thought, and I wanted to talk to him, but I didn't. And then I asked him what his middle name was. I was like, well, you could just go by your middle name, right? And he's like, well, my middle name's Owen. I was like, oh, okay. Well, that's a pretty cool name. He's like, but he's named after, that's a book character too. And I was like, no. Your parents did not name you after Owen Meany, did they? And he's like, yep, that's the guy.
Wow, his parents are real pretentious fucks, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, Owen Meany
That's-
he was a diminutive little.
Regardless of that, like just
They don't even give him an out.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
like naming him like his name was like, I don't know, fucking Adolf Manson or something
Don't
like
do that to
you
your
know?
kids. Just name your kid something normal and fucking don't give them shit to
Well, he
explain.
was a
when
nice
they-
guy,
Right, okay.
and he was a good waiter, and but I could see a little hurt in his eyes, you know.
Ah,
So
I'm sorry.
we did that. The food was really good. I had went there stoned a few times, like about a year and a half ago, you know, for my glaucoma.
this same restaurant.
Yeah, and it was way better.
Dude, what is the name of this place?
It's named Doris,
Doris.
which is
Okay.
also my dog's name.
Okay.
But I know I had met the owner that night, and his name was Dory. And I was like, oh, well, that's the name of it. But no, everyone there calls it Doris.
Okay. That's very confusing.
Anyways, it's a very hot shit place.
Okay.
I did wear flip-flops, though.
Okay.
I had a linen sport coat
It's a hot shit place you
and
can wear
flip-flops
flip-flops
on
too.
and those gold toenails. And then I also,
Nice.
after a round of disc golf at City Park yesterday, which is free, I went to the Bayou Beer Garden. And maybe there was just an air of douchiness left over.
On Jeff Davis?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
From Bayou Boogaloo, maybe like all the douchebags had kind of wandered around
Yeah, they got
and not known where to go, and then slowly drifted into there or whatever.
It gets
But
that crowd sometimes. They've got a
seemed-
little patio in the back. And
Yeah, that's where we
stuff.
were.
Yeah.
It seemed super douchey. There were lots of guys, even though it was late, like possibly 7:30, 7:45 at night. There was maybe a dozen guys wearing sunglasses and a few ladies. And the music,
Because they were left over from Boogaloo.
I don't, maybe
That has to be it.
maybe, yeah. They were just wandered around and then like zombies drifted over to the Bayou Beer Garden.
Okay.
The music was all 1997. What was that kind of punk that was pop? Remember?
Punk that was pop.
It was like Blink 182.
Oh God, with the
and
okay.
I think Offspring and Green Day kind of ushered it in, and then it lasted for like a good decade.
I think you
And
just
it was like, you know,
Yeah.
that was it. That played the entire time,
Oh my God.
and they had it on the Blink 182 Pandora station. The bartender was really nice. There was a lot of, there was a good, all decent beer selection. The staff
Okay.
was cool, clientele less so. And that's what I did.
All right, sounds good. The only thing I can think coming up, I did want to mention Bar Politics is coming up again next month. That I continue to promote
Waiting for Hubris.
something like
Go
Waiting
with
for
that.
Cubics. June 14th is they're doing this time. Their topic is Airbnb and sharing economy type stuff. So and what they do is kind of like topical Daily Show local stuff. So go check that out. I think they're going to be. Oh shit! Where are they going to be now? Now I don't even know. That I'm doing a bad job of promoting where they're going to be. So, find them on Facebook, Bar Politics, and check that out June 14th. And what else have we got?
Jivewire.
Jivewire. Okay, let's do that.
First of all, also, we're trying to convince Magnolia Builders to buy us a new soundboard so that when we do the recording somewhere other than Hogshead Jesus Studios, we don't have to lug a bunch of equipment around and stuff. So y'all bug him about it. I told him I would give him naming rights to the soundboard. So if we ever
the
refer to
Magnolia Builders soundboard.
the Magnolia Builders soundboard,
because they sound it better.
it sounds better. Yeah.
It sounds,
So I was almost had him convinced, and I saw him looking it up on Amazon, and I think he saw the price and he was kind of like balked a little bit. But
Oh.
he already owes us some money because we've been promoting him, and he hasn't paid us in a while.
Every week. Every
Just-
week we are loyal to our patrons.
Absolutely.
We really think that the Magnolia Builders are you should check them out and you should patronize their business if you have for all your home renovation needs and for all your business renovation needs.
I don't think I mentioned it on a previous Steppin' On Steppin' Out, but one week I ate at Toops Meadery and Toops and Junction on St. Claude, and he did the interiors for both of those places.
We did mention that they did Toops.
Yeah, but it was like one day I was at Toops, and then like 2 days later I was at Junction, and was like, wow,
yeah,
I can't go anywhere without being just surrounded by the masterful work.
Yeah. So anyway,
Josh Murphy.
The point of all this is that Josh, should
he sponsors the Jive Wire.
Encourage Josh to buy us a soundboard. I guess is what we're trying to say.
The Jive Wire is sponsored by Magnolia Builders because they build it better.
They better.
And is brought to you at the oddest hours.
It is.
Ye Old Smoky Bar hosts Tunsil Taint at 4:20. The Steamboat Queenie hosts Cali Calliope at sunset.
Always.
The Frenchman Tourist Trap hosts Greasy Gree at 5.
Yep.
The Urinal Bar hosts Beer in the Book Drop at 6.
It's a good one.
The Back Room at the Leather Bar features Algorithmic Twitter at 7.
Yeah.
Iconic Structure features Snitch Landrew at 7. The Audubon Boulevard Bar features The One Percenters at 7. The Feel the Burn Bar features Wendell Punchy Pierce at 7.
Wendell Pierce is a Hillary man.
Betty's Pub and Grub and Rub and Tug features The Happy Endings at 7. Suspicious Package features Hurt Roomba at 8. Fitbits has Blood Splenda at 8. Follies at the Market hosts Big Titty Bartenders at 8.
What age are they?
They're legal.
Okay.
They're legal. One-Eyed Jack Kennedy's hosts Vince Foster the People at 9.
That's good.
Self-proclaimed Super Crew is at the Big Mouth Music Club at 9. Ruby Aaron Rose hosts French Fry Javelin at 9. The Ethel Jackson Parish Bar has Clannish at 9. The Havard Vanna Room has Large Kenny and the Misogynist at 9. The Tyler Bridge Lounge hosts the White Dad Blues Experience featuring Engineer Pat at 10. Bywater Space Place features the Doug McCash Monday Spillionaires at 10. To get your gig into the Jive Wire, tweet to @HunkerDowncast or email hunkerdowncast@gmail.com. Now get out there, support.
And enjoy
some live local music.
All right. And I think that is all we got for this week. You have any closing thoughts for the show this week?
Just a little shout out to Alli, who's probably not going to listen to this, telling her we miss her and safe travels to St. Simon's Island.
Out in Georgia.
Home of Engineer Pat.
That's right.
So, many stories he tells about that place. It's his Pensacola. I can tell.
Actually, just to plug Pat's work, if you read Mid-City Messenger at all, Pat has a regular column there, and he has one up today about the crime problem. But he also wrote one a couple weeks ago about Airbnb that features St. Simon's Island, prominently, and he talks about its status as a beach town and compares it to New Orleans and like the way. We were talking about earlier about how tourism is encroaching on neighborhoods and stuff, and Pat compares the two towns. It's kind of an interesting perspective on that, anyway.
So, well, we had spoken to Alli earlier, and she was mentioning maybe getting a on-the-scene report.
Yeah.
From Engineer Pat from there. So if she listens to this, which I don't think she will.
Well, it's okay because we'll get in contact with her.
We could say anything about her probably, and she wouldn't. We could be like, yeah. We so want her to interview Engineer Pat from St. Simon's Island about the Airbnb, and all of Tim and them want to hear it also.
Yeah, so as a teaser for the next time Alli's here.
It's not even a teaser. She's not going to listen to it.
Next time she's here, we'll be like, Alli, do you have that report for us?
Right.
And she'll be like, what report? The one that we asked you for on the show you didn't listen to. That
I
sounds
know
like
you
a-
don't even like. I know you don't like recording the show for an hour and 45 minutes. So there's no way you're gonna listen to it. But we miss you. We love you.
And yeah, I guess that's it. So thanks for listening again, everybody, and yeah, we'll catch you next time.